What is going on, guys? Hope you're all having a good Monday. Looks like Sheets just texted me that he doesn't think he's going to be able to make it. So it's just going to be me running through what's happening. This is a crazy NBA slate. This is not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of stuff going on. I think you're going to end up with some pretty concentrated ownership on some chalk that I think is, speculative, but that's just sort of the way that it goes right now. I don't really know what else to tell you. I think there's a very basic way I'm looking at this slate. So I'm probably going to end up with Isaiah Jackson in all my lineups. No other bigs there. It does worry me the game could go small if he's not starting. Maybe I will reconsider that. But as of right now, and I am sharing my screen, I am going to have Isaiah Jackson probably in most, if not all, of my lineups. With no Hayward in there, I think that PJ Washington is a very strong play as well. Definitely a guy you're playing in cash game for tournaments. I think you could definitely fade it because I worry about, the total in that game, it makes you worry it's going to get out of hand. If it stays close, if you really believe it does, I would say probably play Terry Rozier and PJ Washington because that's the way that it's going to stay close. So that's my main plays are Jackson. I will play one from the Clippers. You can see they're in an incredible spot against Indy. My favorite is Paul George. My second favorite is Kawhi, and Harden are like really close. And I actually like Zubac quite a bit tonight too. So all four of those guys heavily in play. I will probably have at least one Clipper on every lineup. I will have Jackson in most of my lineups. I will then have probably at least one player from Detroit in my lineups, but it's hard to know exactly which ones. And also you worry about the blowout here against Atlanta in a great game environment. But if Bagley starts, I'll play him along with Jackson in a ton of lineups. If he doesn't start, I probably will have a little bit of shots in tournaments, but I might move over to Xavier Tillman, who I feel like it's really hard to project because he's been not playing, but they don't, without any big here, he may end up starting. And if Tillman starts, I'll be interested there. Started running through it. I think Jaden Ivey is going to start today without Killian Hayes. I think he's a very good play at 5,300 and probably doesn't get taken off the court for blowout run unless he's already played like 28 minutes. So I'm good with that. I think the Atlanta side is really appealing. I didn't get to it in my builds, but I think Trey is easily an awesome spend up. I think Trey and Donovan Mitchell are two guys I love at 10K and 9,900 that I would absolutely have no problem getting to, but I just didn't build that way. The next stuff I'm doing is going to be in Memphis. I don't think you have to play Aldama. I don't think you have to play Williams, but I will be overweight both of them. I also will have some exposure, like I mentioned, to Xavier Tillman if he starts. And I will get some David Roddy exposure in addition and sometimes instead of my Vince Williams. That's the way I'm approaching it. I think you could make this into a game stack if you want to just play, hey, let's hope it stays close and that Bane or Triple J can go off, especially Bane, I think is appealing here. And then you could, I love that price on Trey, but I think Shea becomes like a really good tournament play if you're going to go the other way. And then Isaiah Joe is interesting down here at the 3,900 just because we know he's going to get some minutes. So Joe and Gilliard I have in a very similar category of, okay, if I really need it, that's where I'm going to go. And I'll probably end up, if I play them together. But we'll see if Gilliard starts. He's the other value piece that's going to look a little bit appealing. Then it gets into the spend ups. I mentioned I like the Clippers spend ups. I do like Trey, although I'm not getting too much of it right now. And I also really like sorry about that. I'm blowing up with all kinds of personal stuff in the middle of this show. Sorry about that. I like the spend ups. I like the Clippers. I like Donovan Mitchell, Trey Young, and I love Luka. I think this is a great situation. If the game's going to be close, it's going to be because of him. He's going to go nuts. I'd be shocked if he had less than 60 fantasy points. I'd be surprised if he had less than 65. And I expect him to be in the 70s tonight. So I would be very high on Luka. The Rashawn Holmes things is very speculative, and we don't even know if he's playing yet. But I sort of would encourage people to maybe take that gamble on the later stuff because I want to see where the ownership really truly ends up. We won't have a better idea really for a little while. And it's going to be very guessy because everybody, we have so much information. It's 11 game slate. It's just these slates, man, they take it out of you because it's just like you really have to grind it all the way down. And I love it for big slates, but it's like for with big tournaments or giant things, just feels like these Monday ones have just been kind of getting to me, especially when we're trying to do football as well. So for me personally, I'm trying to make this bigger slate smaller. So Luka is going to be in probably half my lineups. The other ones will be flooded with all kinds of different Clippers stuff. It'll have, I think I will probably try to find a way to get to some Trey and some Donovan Mitchell. Luka is my favorite spend up, and I'm going to use pieces of the Memphis value, the Detroit situation. The one thing I didn't check since we got the news is just wanted to see with Hayward out, the official word, if anybody else sort of popped off projection wise. Not really. Really just PJ Washington. I think Nick Richards is a better play than he was too. I think you could definitely say Washington or Richards, but it's harder to play Richards because there's so many good center plays. It's hard. That's where you're mostly spending down. So I like Zubac a little bit better than I like Richards, and I think you're going to get a little lower ownership on Zubac, so I probably would do that. But I think Terry Rozier is just a phenomenal tournament play. I may just have to rebuild, and if this game stays close at all, it's because Terry Rozier is going to have like 65 fantasy points. Now, if it doesn't stay close, Washington and Richards probably aren't going to get there either. Maybe McGowan's does, but I'm not gonna play that. So it's just interesting. There's a lot of funny stuff to go through. All right, K9's asking favorite Chiefs center on FanDuel. Well, I just want to say a big FU to FanDuel. I'm really disgusted with them. I can't even log in. I've been trying. I've been holding the capture thing that asks me to prove that I'm a human over and over again, and yet it keeps having me only realized so I can't even look at FanDuel at all. I will open up FanDuel on here because I didn't touch it. I'm not going to mess with this site. They're just such a horrible site, is the truth. And they were doing better, and actually, like, basketball wise, it's easier to play who you want. So I get why some people like to do it, but I'm just getting tired of it. I don't want to have to re-log in every time. I literally can't get in my screen. So I'm just on the FanDuel train. I will play it very sparingly the rest of the year, if at all. And their incentives, their prizes, all of their rewards program is horrible. Since my host left, I have no interest in FanDuel, so I just despise FanDuel. I absolutely despise FanDuel right now. So that's my long and short of it. Hey, I guess Richards is probably the most logical answer. I think Wiseman you could make a case for sure at 4,100, but you're just speculating that he does play enough, and I think that's a pretty good speculation. I think I would probably gamble and play Wiseman. He's gonna have some ownership, but I don't think it's high enough. So I probably would play Wiseman. Would be my favorite. Richards would be the next one for me to answer that question. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, it's just been driving me nuts, guys. It's been really, really driving me nuts. So I'm gonna jump over to football. You guys ask anything you want about basketball. I talked about everything I'm doing as of right now. Really, we're just waiting on more information, which I'm sure is going to happen at some point. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna figure that part out. All right, I'm back on DraftKings here that's for basketball still. Yeah, the Rashawn Holmes things, I'm still deciding what I want to do with that, but I will update the premium Discord in a little bit. I'm going to jump over to football because I think that it's important to touch on a few things, and NBA Monday Live. I'm just going to put NBA/NFL, change the heading a little bit, and we will look at this football slate because I am not going to be able to come back at 7:15 or 7:30, I don't believe. So this is going to be pretty much it. Let's go over to football and talk a little bit about that. I'll show you guys a real quick glimpse of my current builds for both sports. This is where I'm at right now. I don't really love it. It's just they're placeholders for basketball. Cam Thomas is fully a placeholder play, but I'm just going to try and find different things to do. And before I get in trouble, I'm going to take that back out of there, and we are going to go back to the optimizer. Okay. Let's do this. Philly, Seattle. It's a pretty great game for DFS purposes for one gamer. For what it's worth, I like Seattle a little bit tonight. I think they have a really good chance to be competitive and potentially win. I think that this the Parkinson is the guy who stands out as the cheap value, the super cheap. I didn't find myself needing to go super cheap. I really like both Charbonnet and Fant. Those are my favorite spend downs, as you could just see they were in both of my lineups so far. I'm going to end up editing it, whittling down, but that's where I'm at right now. I love both of them. Jalen Hurts will be in all my lineups tonight. My favorite captains are going to be, and we're going to sort by SaberSim ownership here. I love Devontae Smith. I love DK Metcalf as my two favorite spend-ups. My two favorite captains. For me, you guys know me, I'm like rigid about this 10% thing. I need to find a 10%er in my captain spot because it's just so hard to win the other ways. If you were going to win the other way, The way to do it might be to play like Will Dissly instead of Parkinson because he's going to be significantly lower owned. To play some Quez Watkins, although he's going to get a little bit of ownership. Because if you're going to play Hurts and Brown, you're just going to be fighting against so many people with the same lineups. Why not get the lower ownership on the Devontae Smith and Metcalf? Not enough to totally be different, but enough to give you a fighting chance. I think Smith and Jigba would be my next favorite one. Excuse me. JSN would be my next favorite captain play, just because the value allows you to do everything you want. And I think it's interesting to speculate on both Goddard and Kenneth Walker. Those would be the guys I would mainly focus on. Pop in questions, pop in thoughts. Tell me what you guys are doing on this slate for football, for basketball. We just got word officially that Jalen Hurts is in, which is nice to know because that would have been a very different game had he not been. Let's see. Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels will be available tonight. Okay. I literally forgot they were even playing a game because I'm not that interested in that particular game. So I was like, this for tomorrow? Anyway, so that's pretty much where I'm at on this slate, guys. Pop in your QQs, pop in any thoughts you have, pop in anything that you guys are doing, maybe that's different to me, both NBA or NFL related. I do like Shea K9, but I wouldn't play Shea unless I was playing 3 guys from Memphis, because the reason you're playing Shea is because you're trying to get to those 3 guys. You're making those plays make sense. So maybe you could do it with just 2, but I personally would be using 3. I guess on FanDuel it might be a little bit different. I probably would still use 3. Maybe I would just use 2. Probably 3. I would probably want one of Bane or Jackson. It would be Bane would be my preferred option, although I do like Jackson in this matchup. Vince Williams, and then you go Aldama or Tillman, and you run it back with Shea. I think that's totally viable. I like that quite a bit, actually. So I'm good with that K9. All right. Any other questions, thoughts, ideas, things you guys are doing? Anybody I didn't mention that you like that you were curious about? One person who Vucevic always kills Philadelphia, the revenge games. Just making a note of that. I think if you can get to him and it's really, getting rid of some of the center value stuff, I think Vucevic is going to put up 45 or more tonight. I actually am going to go higher. I'm going to say Vucevic is going to put up 50 tonight. Which is a good way to get different at center. So I might have to force Vucevic into one of my lineups because I love him in these matchups in Philly. We still don't know, by the way, about Joel Embiid. If Joel Embiid is out, we can go ahead and plug Paul Reed in. But at the same time, the Vucevic play becomes even better. The problem is then the centers have Paul Reed and Jackson are going to be your centers in almost all lineups. Favorite value on DK? I don't have like one favorite. Isaiah Jackson is by far and away the best value. I don't even think it's. All right, I guess it's not. It is one. Isaiah Jackson will be in most, if not all, my lineups. The only reason he won't be is because I will take some of the Rashawn Holmes chances. It's speculative for sure. He's not going to start, but I think there is an opportunity for him, and we have to make sure that he's even available. So even that one feels a little bit thinner than it did a little bit ago. Oh, there's Sheets. Hey, what's up, man? So I was just going to get out of here in a minute. I was literally about to get out of here, so I'm happy you popped in.
Yeah, I got an update on all this stuff. So we got the entire Charlotte team is out, right?
Yeah. There's only one extra injury, really. There's a lot of guys out, but yeah, Hayward is the recent injury stuff. Yeah.
And I presume that the Indiana guy is top value, right?
Yeah, Isaiah Jackson, I think, is the best play. Xavier Sims still has the best value as Rashawn Holmes, there's going to be 3 plays that I literally don't know how anyone's going to project their ownership, but Rashawn Holmes, Isaiah Joe, and Jacob Gilyard are the hardest people to project tonight for ownership.
Why Isaiah Joe?
Because he's 3,900 and he's not a guard or a center. So he's just going to fit in well enough. And there's a lot of blowout risk in that game. So he could potentially get more run. But those are the ones that I just don't know how you project these guys. Like, I don't know how to project them because they don't look right. They don't look at the right plays. Like, it's not they look great point per dollar, but they're the only cheap guys. If you want to go that route.
I mean, the first thing is that, the Indiana game is first. So,
yeah,
you got to deal with that. So what's the deal? So Turner is out. So Isaiah Jackson is starting. Is that the story?
We're assuming.
Okay. And,
Yeah.
and is there another person who gets a bump in that game too, or no?
You could argue for everybody. Neesmith. Neesmith, everybody keeps saying he's going to have to play more minutes. Well, when he plays those minutes with those tough defensive matchups, he doesn't really do all that much anyway. But I think he's fine. I just would rather wait for the Memphis stuff.
The Memphis stuff.
Yeah, because they have no big man. So Tillman may start. Aldama looks like one of the best values on the slate. Vince Williams has been playing like crazy for them. He's 4,600. He's going to be really popular. I think it makes sense. Some people will take some shots on David Roddy, but I want to see if Tillman starts. That's really the big piece of information. They only have 10 bodies in Memphis for Memphis, and they really realistically are probably going to play. I guess they'll play all 10, but 2 of them are going to play like 6 minutes.
I think that's how many there are available in Charlotte as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. The difference is that the problem, the thing that's crazy to me is that, look, if you think Charlotte's going to keep this game close, and I think that it's worth taking a shot on, I've sort of talked myself into this play. I think Terry Rozier is just the best play on the slate. Like, I don't know how you could have more of a tournament play than this. Why this guy? If this game had like a 1-point spread or whatever, I mean, first of all, he's projecting well. He's projecting more than 5x at 8,700, which is a weird price to project over 5x at. He's put up 50 in every game that they've been 47 or more every game they've been close without LaMelo. The problem is you have to bet on them being close, and that's a tough thing to do.
What's the spread? I mean, how bad can it be?
12, I think.
Oh.
It's a little worse than I thought, actually. I'm sort of surprised it's that much. It's just, yeah. I think McGowan's is probably going to start for them. He's going to probably look okay-ish, but I don't think it's something that I'm going to do. He's too expensive. He was still 3 or 4K, sure, but I'm not going to pay 5,100.
It's not leaky black season?
It might be, but you know who it might be? And this is not a joke. If there is a blowout, even like James Bouknight could easily get there.
I thought that was clear.
Yeah, James Bouknight.
I thought he was chalk. I wouldn't know why.
100% own James Bouknight.
But I really did think that Rozier was going to be very popular. If that's not the case.
No, there's just a lot of good plays as part of the reason too. But also, like, I mean, yeah, I think that nobody's got him above 5%.
Yeah, I mean, when I did the recording earlier, it was basically just the Memphis guys and nothing else. And now it's like,
Yeah, now there's like a lot more.
Yeah, Rashard Holmes was like questionable before. I didn't even know he was going to play.
I think he still is questionable.
Yeah.
So
now, is there anybody else from that game that I aside from Holmes? Like, if Holmes doesn't play, like
Holmes, even if Holmes plays, he may not play.
He'll play like 18 minutes or something, right? I mean, like,
he plays 18, then I think you play him.
Okay.
I don't know if he's like, they're going to start Dwight Powell because that's what they do.
Sheepbot Central DFS Goldies NHL projections have been updated.
They're going to. I'm assuming they're going to start, the normal Dwight Powell thing, and he's going to play probably 24 minutes, and some of the other minutes will go to Holmes. They have to match up with Luka, but I actually think they're going to do some weird stuff, and like they're going to play like smaller guys on Luka and probably double. I think you'll see Grant Williams on Luka. I'm sorry, not on Luka, on Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell? It's okay.
Sorry about that. I think they're going to put some of those like Grant Williams. I can see guarding Jokic part of the night, and then they just double automatically. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to run it. I'm actually kind of curious to see. But I said before that I'm going to have a Clipper probably in every lineup.
A Clipper.
Yeah, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Paul George is my favorite. Kawhi Leonard is my second favorite, and Harden is my third. But they're really close. Harden and George.
I don't know. With all this value, aren't we supposed to just pay up for the studs? Or
I don't think there's that much value.
Okay.
But also, like, what are you getting out of, Kawhi has been putting up, every game that's close over 50, and now you have the best matchup in all of basketball.
No, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, again, when I did this earlier, this is what I was saying, that it was probably a good day to play Kawhi because there was no value enough to play Embiid, Jokic, and Luka. I just want to make sure that we're not supposed to be. I mean, I'll run stuff, but I want to make sure it's still the case. I'll tell you who I liked. If you want something, I don't know if I could still do it, but if you want something low owned instead of Kawhi, is to do something with Atlanta and then play Cade Cunningham on the other side of that game.
I thought about the Cunningham thing. I think Jaden Ivey is the thing I'll probably settle on. That's another one that I really worry about staying close. Detroit's lost 21 in a row now. That's a tough one for them in Atlanta. One thing though is about Detroit that I was a little surprised is that they weren't getting blown out. I looked through all the 21 games and they weren't like getting blown out as many games as it felt like they were.
I mean, Marvin Bagley was showing up as a good play earlier.
He still is, yeah.
I mean,
if he starts, I think if you're playing on FanDuel, you play Wiseman at 4,100, whether Bagley starts.
Wiseman, yeah, sure.
But he's 5,900 on DraftKings. I can't get there. But so I like this. So the Clippers are a starting point for me. I mentioned some other. I love the Rozier idea. I think Vucevic is going to have. I'm telling you right now, my bold prediction: Vucevic will have over 50 fantasy points.
I like that.
I really like Vucevic back in Philadelphia. He's always been vengeful of them, and he's always played well against Embiid. If Embiid even plays, which we still are waiting on, which will make.
Oh, he's questionable.
He's questionable. But at least that game's at 7, and every minute that gets closer, he's probably a little bit more likely to play. But I don't know. So my spend ups were the Clippers. Again, Paul George being my favorite back in Indiana. For those of you guys who don't remember, I like the Luka play. I like the Vucevic, and I like the what's it called? The Rozier. Those are my spend uppy guys, and then mixing in combinations of Ivy for value. Ivy, PJ Washington looks like one of the best values in the slate, but again, worry about that game staying close. I think you could play PJ Washington and Rozier together because they actually probably positively correlate. Just because if they're playing well, that means it's more likely the game's close. If the game's close, it's more likely they're playing well, and they don't take away from each other. So those are two really good plays right there. I think Trae Young is like an extremely logical spend up. I think he's going to be the most popular spend up. I don't think people are going to be spending all the way up for Luka and Jokic as much as I think they should. But again, that'll all change if Embiid is out. So we'll see.
There's some reason why RotoGrinders refuses to project Rashad Holmes. Like they have him at 6 minutes and 4 fantasy points.
That's completely possible, though.
Possible.
It's when he played the last game. But they're playing against Jokic, and they only have 2 bigs. So if they don't do the Grant Williams experiment thing that worries me, then it's going to be 48 minutes combined of, just Powell and Holmes. And honestly, Holmes can probably do a better job on him than Powell can, although Powell's a better all-around defender. I don't know. So, but also I have pieces in that game, so I'm gonna play Holmes probably in one set of lineups and then just leave the rest of it. I'll do the double spend down at center. I'll play him with Jackson. Nobody's going to play Jokic today. Another great play.
Yeah. But people might play Embiid, right?
I don't know. I think so. But no, I don't think they're going to play any of them. To be honest, I just don't think so. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I really don't know what to do with this Rashad Holmes thing.
So we just have to know whether he plays or not.
Right.
He's not going to start anyway.
The 6-minute projection is kind of bizarre.
Yeah, I think it's based on the fact that he played 2 minutes in the last game. He played, and that was against a team.
They have 18 minutes out of Markieff Morris.
That's possible. But think about it, so you would think though. The weird part is that's the thing that's strange. They just played Minnesota with the double bigs, and he only played 2 minutes in that game. That's a little concerning.
There was another game where I thought he was going to play more and he didn't. I forget when it was, but
Morris played 20 minutes in the last game. I'm not going to play Markieff Morris, but
we can certainly muck up the system here.
It is an interesting situation. So Markieff Morris and Jokic got into a fight, and it was a big thing. I believe it was 2 seasons ago, with Jokic's brothers almost getting into a whole thing and Jokic's brothers, if you haven't seen them, they look bigger than Jokic. They're huge. And there was a huge thing with Markieff Morris about this whole thing. And then Marcus Morris, his twin brother came out and they were going to fight him. And then the team actually ended up sitting Marcus the next game because they didn't want to have any shenanigans going on when they played Jokic. So why they would just put Markieff Morris on Jokic tonight feels weird, but maybe that's like sort of like the antagonistic thing they're going to do. I don't know. Maybe that's what they do. Feels weird.
I think that, and then I wonder if you get any funny, weird starters in Charlotte.
Yeah.
How about you get the Book Night starting?
Oh my God, how crazy would that be? I think it's going to be McGowan's, but
yeah, he's a rookie.
No, third year, I believe. Second or third, I can't remember. He's fine. He doesn't do much when he's on the court, but I mean, yeah, they don't have a lot of bodies. It's really weird that no one's going to play Rozier. I think I just kind of have to suck it up and do it.
Yeah.
I went for my football.
But it's another way. If in fact the game does stay close, it's because he had right. It's because he had a good game.
Absolutely. I honestly don't even know if there is another route. Maybe Ish Smith off the bench can get going or something. Maybe that could happen. I really don't. How does Rozier not score 50 if they lose by less than 10?
What about this Gilliard?
Yeah, it's speculative. I would wait to see a starting lineup. It's not like he got all the minutes after Rose got hurt. He played 15 minutes.
You like the Jamal Murray at all?
Oh, I didn't even consider him.
He had a bunch of them earlier.
Yeah, actually, I think that's totally reasonable. It's not like you know what? I kind of like it actually, because another guy who I liked a little bit that was sort of like just completely random and off the board was Cam Thomas. But it feels chasey because he just had a crazy game. But he does that though. He goes through these little heat stretches. But yeah, I could get on board with the Murray.
How much PJ Washington are you playing?
I'm going to be probably a little bit. I thought I was going to be below the field, but I don't know where the field's going to. I guess if the field's, I'll be below 50%. But I think 2 big buy-ins, he probably ends up in one of them. I'm not playing a ton of basketball lineups tonight because it's just like a crazy slate. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work anyway, but it's a lot to speculate on. Anyway, I
did good. I won a seat. I played a satellite yesterday. I won a seat to the 2,500 in the NBA.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, and it's funny. I emailed them when's the next time they're running that, and they said the 26th of December.
Oh my God, the day after Christmas, after the Christmas Day slate.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man! Yeah. What are they doing to us?
They actually meant that. I mean, like,
what are they doing to us?
It's pretty bizarre, almost. I think maybe they meant the 25th.
Yeah. Nets and Utah both have players that I think are fine. Mikal Bridges. I like the Cam Thomas thing. I don't have any problem with Cam Johnson or anything. I don't like anything on Utah particularly. So yeah, I get it, but I'm not personally doing that. What I do like about stacking that game is you probably are going to find out information later today that you don't know yet. John Collins is like legitimately questionable. We don't know whether he's going to play, but there might be other news. So yeah, I'm okay with it. It's not what I'm targeting, but sure. Brooklyn, Utah.
You playing FanDuel at all?
No, I couldn't even get into FanDuel. It still keep having to do the little captcha hold thing, and it keeps
ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
It's so stupid. So I'm
going to play one lineup on FanDuel.
Frustration here. All right. Let's see. You know what I did yesterday when I got bored with done with the football? I watched a ton of that poker. I haven't watched that much poker in years. It's kind of fun.
Yeah?
I was watching the WPT championship.
Who ended up winning?
No, it's only like day 3, but it's the biggest. It's like the biggest it was a 40 million guarantee.
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard about that.
So it was just, and I had a couple friends who were playing, so just checking in. It was kind of fun.
You know anybody that was still in?
Yeah, a couple friends. Not close friends that are still in.
I saw somebody posted like Kata was in. He just busted today.
Yeah, he busted today. Somebody else had a huge stack that is a good friend of a friend.
Glantz got 4th in the Paradise thing in the PCA.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I think he had a big chip lead there.
Oh, did he?
I thought so. Yeah, Rick is saying he can't get into FD either. Yeah, F these guys.
I hope I can get in because I have a lineup pending there. I got to change it. I was actually going to play Yahoo too today. I was going to, and just in case I'm not back for NFL. I mean,
I did a little NFL thing already. We can talk it over though.
Oh, okay. This was my take. I mean, earlier today, and I think I feel the same way. If I were going to make my pick between like where to get the cheapos and whatever it is, I'm less inclined to dumpster dive with the Eagles. Only because I mean it's like a must-win game almost, and if Hurts is going to go out there and if Hurts is going to go out there and fight off the flu and whatever else he's got going on, like to play this game, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a game where they get like Boston Scott and and Carcraft where all this. I think it's going to be just the main guys on Philly. I don't think they're going to be screwing around at all. So if you're going to screw around, it would be for me with Seahawk guys like those 3 tight ends or whatever. Or maybe even like some DJ Dallas and some stupid stuff. Like if you were going to screw around, that's what I would do. And aside from that, first time I ran this, maybe you could take this for what it is. First time I ran my builds, I was getting very little Metcalf in the captain, like almost 0. Mm-hmm. And then when I applied like ownership stuff and whatever, I was getting a lot more of him. So
yeah,
take that for what it is. I guess that means he's going to be pretty low owned in the captain.
Yeah.
So I listen. He's always can break a slate.
As I said before, that's the first thing I said is Metcalf is my favorite captain.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, so I'm with you. And Devontae Smith is my second favorite captain.
Oh, I like both. I like that idea though. Just
And the way to beat these teams is usually with receivers, so it actually works out really well. Especially both of them, going to be sub 10%. Feels good.
Yeah. FanDuel. I'm looking here and it's like. It's funny. When I was doing the recording earlier, this is why I decided I wasn't going to play. Like all these lineups, all these guys on FanDuel, I just didn't like the way any of them looked. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to play any of these guys. Like once again, dude, it's the same freaking thing. There's Dinwiddie right there, slotted in like it's his job, like on FanDuel,
right.
Like it's part of his contract. As a matter of fact, my first build here, 3 nets: Dinwiddie, Thomas, Bridges.
Yeah,
with no Utah run back. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to play FanDuel.
I don't need it either. I'm with you.
So we got to watch the starters in. I guess where do we got to watch the starters?
Starter? That's a good question. Okay, so
we'll check out the Bagley.
Bagley is probably one of the biggest ones. I guess the Hornets could do something, but I don't think they will.
It won't matter. I guess I wouldn't say it won't matter too much, but
it won't matter if they start Leaky Black or James Bouknight.
Right.
Then they'll look like good plays.
And we got to make sure that Rashad Holmes is actually playing.
Yeah, John Collins is still questionable. It doesn't mean a ton, but it makes like Sexton, who looks okay. All the guys who look okay, they're not going to look good anymore.
Does anything mean anything before 7:30? That's the question. Yeah, Charlotte. I mean,
Indiana. It'd be nice to have the confirmation. Charlotte, yeah, but I think Charlotte's pretty. I think Charlotte feels like predictable. Indiana feels pretty predictable. I'd be surprised if they do anything different. My only fear about Isaiah Jackson tonight, by the way, is that it is possible that game could go small. The thing is, even still, he's going to play 20-something minutes, and he is an awesome fantasy point per minute guy, Jackson. We were playing it with Turner in.
We were, weren't we?
Yeah. Jolly, my thoughts on Wiseman are yes on FanDuel, no on DraftKings.
Sheetbot Central DFS NBA projections have been updated. They should be available on SaberSim in a few minutes.
Should be.
DK Cash, I'll give the core cash plays. I think it's pretty easy to do. Isaiah Jackson, PJ Washington, probably at this point Santi Aldama, assuming that he starts. But we need the Memphis starting lineup. I guess that's another one we need. Probably Santi Aldama, Jaden Ivey, probably a little thin. Vince Williams.
Not Rashad Holmes if he plays?
I don't think he would be a cash game staple.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, it doesn't quite. It's a little too high risk, which is weird because he might be like 50% owned in tournaments. Usually, guys like that are not high risk, but it's very different when you have a guy because when he plays, we all know this about him. He can put up 35. It's like what we said about Christian Wood the other night when he ended up going off. Is like, yeah, like Jackson Hayes can sneak in and get you there, but Christian Wood can go out there and like destroy a slate. You know, my hero was, by the way, in my satellite. I had I had a couple like really bad pieces from Washington yesterday, but I hit freaking Daniel Gafford went freaking ballistic. Which one? Oh, I think
he had an all-time career high in points. He had like 29 points. He had like 59 fantasy points or something.
Oh my god!
And Tyus Jones at 63.
Oh Jesus! That's Tyus Jones coming off of that because he saved me on Friday sheets. I made a deep run in both I played 2 big entries in that 100K for first, and I was like in the top 20 of both of them. And I had but he was the one. Tyus Jones was in one of them with like 56. So he's had 2 huge games in a row. Probably something to look out for.
Tari Eason. I'm looking at that.
It's a tough play. Like it's the price and the matchup, but he's so good and active. Like I always want to play him, but I personally didn't get to any of them tonight.
Okay, that makes sense.
So can we do this? Can we get Jokic? Can we get Ivy? I'm sorry, Rozier and Vucevic, and then basically the chalk. That can win, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of Jokic right now.
Yeah, why not?
He's a good basketball player, right?
Yeah. And if Gilliard doesn't start, you switch to Isaiah Joe. I keep going because I keep needing that one value spot.
So is that the day? Whichever one of them, not whichever one. They're different teams, right?
Which one were you talking about?
You said Isaiah Joe and
and Gilliard. Yeah. It's the same matchup those against each other.
I don't know. I'm not really getting any of this Isaiah Joe.
It's totally. I mean, look, it's just there's nothing special about this play except for this game could be a blowout, and he's going to get minutes anyway. He can put up 20 fantasy points any night. You know, he's a shooter. He put up 19 in the last game they played. That would be totally fine at 3,900. So really, it's just that.
Needless to say, late swap, check Discord, check everything. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine who I'm going to have like by the end of this night. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just don't know.
We haven't even heard the Embiid news yet officially. So,
oh, he was officially questionable. You said, right?
Yeah.
Who do they play? Freaking Detroit, right, or whoever?
Detroit.
I just presume they play Detroit because they always play Detroit.
No. They don't play Detroit. They play. I'm sorry, I was looking
really?
at.
No, how do they not play Detroit?
No, they play Chicago.
Oh, see, not really, actually.
So yeah, it's a little.
They actually have a chance to play the whole game tonight.
So Maxey, Paul Reed, and somebody else may end up being chalk if that happened. That's your answers. You play Maxey. Although the one thing about Maxey, like with Jokic out, you just play him. I'm sorry, if Embiid is just out, you just play him. But then you definitely run it back because look, Kobe White just seems to put up 50 every single game. DeMar DeRozan is still too cheap for the role that he's in without Levine, and so is Vucevic. And he also has revenge, the Vucevic. So does Andre Drummond, by the way. Everything about this game feels stackable if Embiid is out. But if he's not, oh, there it is. Embiid's in. Thank you very much, Zane.
Thank God.
Okay, that at least saves me from a whole thing.
Saves me from a whole world of shit. Actually.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. All right. Yeah, that was what killed me yesterday. It was the Washington football team. It was actually that I had so much. I for some reason Howell was in so many of my good lineups. And
I was really hoping, because I didn't check whatever. I was really hoping, because I wasn't on the Discord or everything. I was really hoping that you were going to end up with a whole bunch of James Cook, because I know you were talking about him.
Yeah, I ended up with some, but not as much as I wanted. And unfortunately, I did the stack kind of cool. Like I did a stack with Josh Allen and James Cook, and I did catch a big pass from him, but it just didn't quite get there. Of course, Dallas. Dallas is going to be my nemesis for the rest of my life, apparently. They're paying me back for leaving them, for leaving the fan base. All right. So with Embiid in, I actually don't even like Embiid tonight compared to the other guys, but I mean, he's probably going to put up 65 or 70, but
I mean, he certainly can. I mean,
so what?
I mean
so will Jokic, so will Luka.
probably at least one of them will, right? I mean,
I'd be shocked if Luka. I think if Luka doesn't put up 70, I'd be surprised today. Just because it's. I mean, look, they're playing on the road. Former MVP. He's playing for his MVP stretch. They're gonna need every bit of it without Kyrie. I just don't see how he gets like less than 65 as like a minimum. I really don't. His
they're
usage
playing against each other, right?
I couldn't do it, but I think you can do it. Like if you can find it, that means you're playing Holmes, you're skipping Jackson.
Oh, both of them? Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean it gets really fringy.
Fringy is definitely a kind way of putting it.
Yeah, and even like what they both get 80, and you're still not like made. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of weird.
I would take my chances.
Yeah, with 80, you probably are. I mean, it's 11 games late though. There's going to be some of these 8K guys are going to put up 60, like Rozier.
Yeah, or he could get 41 or 31 after he gets blown out of the game.
How about that other one? Jesus, he put up 51 the other night, and he had literally 11 with like 2 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, he put up like 40 in the fourth quarter. It was insane. It was nuts. Vince Williams from Memphis is a yes for me.
Yeah, why
I
not?
also would like to know if he's starting or not. Even still, I'm going to play him either way.
We'll play him off the bench as well.
I'm playing him. They're giving him minutes. They like him. But if they start Roddy, you can play Roddy instead if it makes you feel more comfortable. I like him better than Roddy. They seem to like him better than Roddy, actually, which is kind of surprising because they love it. I actually like Roddy a lot as a player. He just doesn't score. He doesn't put up fantasy points. All right. I'm probably actually don't really have that much else to go over, so I can just hang out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just updating my hockey projections and putting those through right now.
I did do the Vucevic in one of my big buy-ins with Jackson. My other one has Jackson and Holmes, just to be honest. But I'm considering swapping later in the Jackson Holmes lineup. Holmes.
I have a dumb question for you, Bobby. Does Goldie do NBA or no?
Yeah.
He does. Okay.
Maybe I'll split up Roddy and Williams. That makes a little more sense. I have 100% Williams right now, and maybe I don't need to quite have that much.
I talked about this today also about having 100%. I don't mind it really.
Oh, in some spots, sure, but with fringy role players, that's not the guys you want to lock in. Luka, I guess, any time. If I'm going to play him, I'm happy to play him in all my lineups if I can.
Right.
Nash Reed looks like a good play. No, he doesn't.
He's out. There was some other guy who sounded like that, who I thought was going to play for Charlotte.
Nas Reed absolutely does not look like a good play. Worst matchup in basketball. This is a game-chasing statement that you're making.
Yeah, that's a low-scoring game.
There's absolutely nothing to like about Nas Reed at 6,100 today. If he gets there, we all know Nas Reed can always just go nuts, but there's literally 0.0 reasons to play him tonight. If you play him tonight, you should be playing him every single night because there is nothing good about this. I'm in a really weird spot at like 7,500.
What other takes did you have on the football besides those two's captain? Do you have any take on the game or anything? Or
yeah, I kind of like Seattle. We've seen Philadelphia defense look just very flawed. I also like the over. Feels too low. I know it's rainy, but it's
what is it? 41 or 42?
40. It's 44, 45 and a half.
45 and a half.
But the Eagles games in general are almost always right around 49, 48. Like. Just because they're going to score. But their defense does not look good. I think the Seahawks with only a 20 total. Give me the over on that. Oh, the other one I liked as a captain cheats was JSN. I think that's a really good captain idea.
Well, that's an upside play for sure.
I mean, he's finally realizing his potential. I mean, not finally. He's a rookie. And if there was one weird guy I would get weird with on Philadelphia, I agreed with all your statements. it would be Zacchaeus.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
They love him as a blocker, so he'll play all the big downs. They just, an occasion, to just run that one play for him.
Yeah, I just don't want to play Julio Jones. I don't think.
I don't think you need to. I really don't think you need to. And it's
I don't
totally
think
fine.
so either. I mean, I don't need to. I don't even want to. It's like,
I think JSN, I think Smith and Jigba is like if he isn't already, he's about to surpass Lockett as the number 2 receiver on the team. Hi, Joanne. Good to see you as always. We did talk about the game. We do officially have Geno Smith now out.
oh, we knew that though. No.
We thought it, but I didn't see. Let me just double check. Yeah, I guess maybe it's not official. We're just assuming still. Okay, no Geno. Still kind of like Seattle. Nothing changes.
I got bad news for you. I mean, Drew Lock isn't that much worse than him anyway.
Well, but Geno's not even that. Drew Lock is sort of like Geno before Geno was Geno, like sort of a busted high pick, but a guy who's still very confident. You know,
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
Drew Lock.
Yeah. You got to realize that like week 6, people were talking about Geno Smith was like the MVP guy. It's
Yeah, I
just-
know.
It gets crazy.
Yeah, so my current big buy-in on DraftKings has in NBA has Luka in it.
One of my 2
I'll
does.
say that. But some of it's going to depend on who's playing and who's starting and who's all this stuff.
Jeez, you know what I ended up with just now? I got your guy in here. I ended up with Jamal Murray in one of my big buy-ins.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Bouknight.
No, I wish I had more courage, but I think it's an awesome play.
Whatever, it is what it is. Dude, I had like second or something like that in their early one of the NBA slates yesterday. I had a 1% guy who literally didn't get in the game until the fourth quarter, until blowout run, and he made 5 for 5 from 3.
Oh my God. Who was
This guy, the Champagne guy or whatever.
Champagne, Justin Champagne. Yeah.
The game was totally over. He made 5 for 5 from 3 in the fourth quarter.
I'll preview the slate tomorrow for you. He will be the most popular player owned on tomorrow's slate, 100%.
It's so funny.
No, I know he will be because when Wemby's at. Oh, and Wemby got hurt too.
Literally 1%. Then I don't even know how I got to him. And he's literally didn't have a single fantasy. I don't think he played until the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Sheets, I can't believe I ended up with the Murray in there. That surprised me that I ended up there. It's like literally I needed that exact price point at the last piece, and it works perfectly because I also have Luka in that lineup. So you got a great little run back, and I've got Rashawn Holmes in that lineup. So you got a little stack. Love it. Yeah, these basketball slates, I feel like anytime there's over 10 games, you should always have 100K for the big buy-in for first.
Well, they were talking about that on Twitter today, that they've just been unable to fill these. I mean, they haven't been able to make 100K for first since in like 10 days.
No, but they've been selling out.
No, I know, but for whatever reason, they haven't been offering the 100. They didn't feel as though if they offered 100,000 for first, and they made a bigger guarantee that it would fill.
See, I think they're lying because I think this is what they do in their early. This is what they're used to. They're just playing the old Monday schedule. The old Monday and Tuesday schedule is like sort of how they're organized. But the new NBA schedule is so different because it used to be all the big games were on Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday you'd have like 2 or 4 games, and then you'd have like 6 or 7 on Monday. Now you've got like Mondays with like 12, 14. We had 13 the other day on Monday. I just don't think they've adjusted. Hertz is in, Joanne. Yes.
So just so everybody knows, within the next, I guess, 15 minutes or maybe even less, I'm going to have the showdown slate, at least the sheets updated. If I can make it back here for a little. Oh, you already did something. Okay, so good. So
I did something, and also like I think it's pretty straightforward. I'll be in the Discord with people, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do any more tonight.
No, perfect. But if you're going to close down this stream, let me know because I want to talk to you for a second.
Okay, yeah, I'll close it down now. That's cool.
Okay, let me know when it's on.